And next, Nicolas Cage has the ability to look into the future by just a few minutes, giving him the foresight to be able to get himself in and out of situations with ease. Are you going to have the foresight to decide whether or not you want to watch this movie? Stick around to find out. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about Nicolas Cage's Next. Yeah, this is a movie that I feel like nobody ever really talks about. I remember seeing this movie back in the day and really liking it. So I decided to revisit it and have a friend join me here for another video. So this time, for the fourth time, I think, here on the channel, I am super happy to have my buddy Cinematic Tendency here to talk about this Nicolas Cage film with me. So we'll be hearing from him in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and get into my initial thoughts on this movie. But before we do so, if you're new to the channel, my name is Anthony A. Perez, and here on this channel, we talk about movies, TV, Star Wars, video games, all kinds of random stuff. I do supercut videos, vlogs, and tons of other great stuff. If you guys are interested in any and all of that, definitely hit that subscribe button, consider sticking around, hit that like button, and start commenting your thoughts right at the beginning of this video if you've seen this movie or throughout the video, because I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. So as far as Next goes, yeah, this is one of those movies that I would say is not in the top tier of Nicolas Cage movies. It's not one of his good or great films, but it's not one of his terrible or bad films, or even one of those films that's so bad it's good. I would say it's about middle of the road. I really enjoy the premise of this film. I think it's a movie that has something really different to it, and I think that if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, even for his a bit over-the-top, very samey, hokey roles, I think there's something to be enjoyed here because the premise alone is pretty cool. So like I mentioned in the intro of this video, Nicolas Cage's character has the ability to look into the future a few minutes at a time, giving him the ability to kind of get himself in and out of situations however he pleases, or just be able to see how an interaction's gonna go. He can literally play different scenarios in his head if he does various things, and it allows him to kind of, again, get himself in and out of situations. He can cheat at things. He can kind of see how to approach somebody and how to talk to them, or how to, maybe steal somebody's keys, how to sneak into a room without somebody else seeing them. And he can kind of play these various options in his head so he can, navigate how to get through different situations. And near the beginning of the film, we're seeing him at his casino. He's playing poker, I believe what it is, or he's playing something there at a casino, and he's able to cheat because of the fact that he has this ability. And yeah, he ends up finding out not too long into the film that the FBI is after him, and he tries to get away from them, but eventually they do catch up with him at some point and pretty much tell him that, hey, we know that you have this ability. I don't really know how they fully know how he got this ability, but they somehow know that he has this ability, and because of that, they want to try to use him to kind of take out these villains that are in the film, these bad guys. And so the film is kind of half him not wanting to work with them, and then half him kind of working with the FBI. And a lot of times he's running from them, a lot of times he's with them, a lot of times he's with them and doesn't want to work with them, and kind of vice versa. But what I will say right out of the gate is that I really enjoy the premise. I like the idea of this guy who has the ability to see a little bit into the future and kind of uses that to get himself in and out of situations. The way that they use it at certain times is fairly clever, and I will say the first and second act of this film I find to be pretty engaging and pretty interesting. Now, before I continue the rest of my thoughts on this, let's go ahead and hear what my buddy Cinematic Tendency had to say about this.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I am back for the third time. So Anthony, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm glad to be here with you guys again. And today we're gonna be talking about this movie. But before, I gotta tell you something. As for right now, I haven't had a guest in my channel. However, that is about to change because I already invited Anthony, so he's gonna be my first guest. And Anthony, thank you for agreeing to be in my channel. So you're gonna be my first guest. So thank you, I appreciate it. And you guys, let me just let you know that he and I are going to be talking about a classic TV series from 1955. I am talking about the first season of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. It's a beautiful series shot in black and white. Again, it's from 1955. And we are going to be talking about episode 5. And let me just let you know that this entire Alfred Hitchcock series, you can watch it for free on Peacock. And with all of that out of the way, perhaps you are thinking, so what's next? That's right, I'm gonna tell you right now. So next is a movie from 2007 and it was directed by Lee Tamahori. He's from New Zealand and he directed movies like Die Another Day, which I have seen, and also directed Triple X State of the Union, which I don't think I've seen the whole thing, and I want to say that's the one with Ice Cube. The cinematography was by David Tattersall from The Green Mile, Die Another Day, and also from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So in this movie next, we have starring the one and only Nicolas Cage. Big Nick Cage. That's right, we have Nick Cage and he's joined by Jessica Biel and also Julianne Moore. In next, Cage plays the character of Chris Johnson. He is a Las Vegas magician. Chris has the ability to see 2 minutes into his future. If you ask me, that's a pretty cool ability. And even though he keeps his ability under the radar, he has been spotted by the FBI. So, an FBI agent is trying to recruit him and to use his abilities to catch a group of terrorists who plan to use a nuclear bomb. Alright, everybody, so I gotta say this. I never heard of Next in my life. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it okay? Well, in my opinion, the movie is okay. The movie is entertaining. The movie is watchable. The movie has some good moments. So I liked the movie, but I had to be a little specific. I liked the first and second act. So the first and second act got my attention. I enjoyed them. And the third act, I found it to be a little iffy. So in other words, the landing was a little bumpy for me. Like I said earlier, I never heard about Next. So when I read the basic plot, I was expecting to see the character of Nicolas Cage working alongside the FBI against the terrorists. And without saying any spoilers, that is not the case, because actually, for the most part of the movie, Nick Cage is running away from the FBI. At the same time, he's working and meeting the love of his life. Now, there is nothing wrong with that, but that is not the way this movie was advertised, in my opinion. At the beginning of the video, I told you about the cinematographer, because in this movie Next, there are some nice shots, some shots that I appreciate. Most of them are going to be outside. You're gonna see shots of mountains, deserts, the woods, and also some waterfalls. I am a very visual guy, so whenever I see decent photography in movies, I always like to give credit to the cinematographer. So that's the case for Next. And very quick, I am gonna tell you about one more element that actually I wasn't expecting it, to be good, or at least I liked it. And I am gonna tell you about the soundtrack. At the beginning of the movie, you're gonna hear a song by Fatboy Slim, but there is one song that they play later around the second act. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you the name of the song. The name of the song is Así Será, and is by the Green Car Motel. I never heard about this band, but after watching the movie, I looked them up, and they have pretty good tunes. So check them out. So again, the band is the Green Car Motel, and the name of the song is Así Será. So again, guys, the first and second act are my favorites. So the landing of the movie, it was a little iffy for me, and something that didn't help was that in the third act, there is a little twist in the story. So I'm not a big fan of that twist. even though I understand what they were trying to do. But so yeah, but overall, I like the movie. I can watch it again for sure. I'm not gonna be buying the movie, but if you haven't watched Next, yeah, check it out. You can find it right now on Prime Video. All right, guys. So thank you guys for watching, and Anthony, thank you for having me over again. I appreciate it. So I am gonna see you guys very soon in another video of another movie. And until then, ciao, calamar.
A big thanks to Cinematic for being here in another video. Loved hearing your thoughts, man. I'm glad that you kind of have a similar take on this movie with me. The movie is just fine, right? It's not top tier Nicolas Cage. It's not lower tier Nicolas Cage. It's not even one of those is so bad it's good. It's about middle of the road. Because like you said, I think in the latter half of this film, they kind of take a little bit of a dump on the overall story, and it definitely doesn't end as impactful as I feel the first part of the movie was. Again, you have this interesting premise, and you have Nicolas Cage in a pretty bad wig, or at least that's what it seems like it is, and, you know, a fairly generic film. But you have also Julianne Moore in this film, you have Jessica Biel in this film, so you have some great eye candy in the film, some great actresses overall, and everybody is giving a pretty solid performance. Now, you do have some moments of pretty weak CGI at times, because this movie is not very CG heavy. There's not much of it, but when there is, you can definitely tell this was a lower budget film in terms of CGI. But if you're somebody who's watched a lot of Nicolas Cage films, you probably aren't super surprised by that. But yeah, overall, I think the first and second act of this film are pretty engaging. Seeing him kind of run away from the FBI, eventually having to work with them. Again, you have a solid cast, so the performances between these cast members is pretty good. Some of the editing is a little choppy at times, but overall, I do find the first part of this film to be pretty engaging. It's in the latter half of the film that I think that they kind of lose their way just a little bit, and the movie starts to get a little bit kind of bland, a little bit boring, a little bit all over the place, and by the end of the movie you do find yourself not caring too much about a lot of the characters. It's also kind of a little bit of a forgettable movie. Again, if you've seen Nicolas Cage's filmography, he has quite a few of those, where while you're watching it, it's quite entertaining, it's a cool movie, and that's kind of how I feel about this movie, but it's not something that you're completely thinking about years later or even weeks later, you know what I mean? And even rewatching this one, it's already kind of just starting to fade from my memory. Not that I'm forgetting about the movie and its events and the various things that I want to talk about here in a video, but as far as something that's really memorable, that's something that really gripped me as far as the narrative, this movie doesn't have that. But I definitely wanted to do a review for it here on the channel because I do think that the premise is pretty cool, and I like Nicolas Cage in this movie. It's not top tier Nicolas Cage. Some of the lines of dialogue in this film are delivered pretty poorly, and some of the lines of dialogue are just cheesy overall, but I do enjoy his journey over the course of the film. I think if you had a stronger director at the helm and maybe a stronger script, this film could have been a lot cooler. I think if they were to make this movie today, you'd have a really solid and cool movie. Probably not with Nicolas Cage at the center of the film, but overall, I do enjoy this Nicolas Cage film. I think it's one of those entertaining ones that if you ever popped it on, you'll probably be entertained and enjoy what's going on. Is it phenomenal? Is it something that's going to be completely gripping? Maybe not so much, but I do recommend it. I think it's worth checking out at least once if you're a Nicolas Cage fan. Again, I think it's middle of the road Nicolas Cage. Why did I choose to review this movie? Well, quite frankly, because I've just kind of been looking through my list of movies, all the various Blu-rays and DVDs behind me, and I just kind of wanted to pick something that was just random, and I decided to check out Next again. It's been years since I had checked it out. I think Jessica Biel and everybody else in the movie is fine. I think there's kind of like a forced romance kind of thing that's going on between Nicolas Cage and Jessica Biel's character. I always find it strange sometimes when you have these very average guys that are, you know, the star of the film, kind of easily wooing over these very beautiful women in these movies. And it's not that it's impossible, because we see it all the time in real life, but sometimes it's just, if it's not done well, if the story and the dialogue that's built around it isn't super captivating, sometimes it can just feel a little bit rushed, and that's very much how I feel about the relationship between her and Nicolas Cage in this film. The relationship that does start to blossom feels a little bit rushed. There feels like there's a lot of dishonesty and distrust throughout it, but then it kind of, within a short period of time of them knowing each other, there seems to be this relationship blossoming with a lot of dishonesty happening all at the same time. So overall, a fairly okay film that's entertaining to watch, but it's definitely not top tier Nicolas Cage, but it's also not low tier Nicolas Cage. So definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about Next if you've checked it out. I don't really expect this movie to get an abundance of views, to be quite honest, just because I don't really think this is a movie too many people know about. But if you are watching this and you've gotten this far into the video, first of all, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment your thoughts. But yeah, definitely do comment your thoughts even if you have subscribed to the channel. What do you guys think about this movie? Where does this kind of sit for you? Is it top tier, middle tier, or low tier as far as Nicolas Cage movies? Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. And as usual, again, a big thanks to Cinematic Tendency for being here in another video. You can find the link to his channel down below in the description box. Go send him some love and let him know I sent you. And for now, I will bid you adieu. Bye-bye.